Deputy Alan Kelly has 4 minutes.
Thank you, Cathaoirleach. Minister, it's very disappointing Minister Harris isn't here for this issue and all issues, but may I say this is a particularly important issue. I want to ask him and you and the Department why the drug Pembrolizumab, short Pembro, isn't being made available to cancer patients who require it. I do so because this has got a lot of publicity in relation to the case of Vicky Phelan. And I've spoken to Vicky Phelan before I spoke in the House here tonight. And this drug is a drug that is produced in Ireland, produced in Carlow, produced by a drug company here in Ireland, and it is at least 2 years away from being approved. But yet it has had hugely significant effects on Vicky Phelan's tumours, on her cancer, and has obviously given her a better quality of life. Hugely better quality of life. She is inundated with people, and so are many people I know inundated with requests as to how to access this drug. It is an off-licence drug. It is not a drug that is on a clinical trial. It is off-licence. The drug is unique in that it has shown, in many cases, to have a significant impact on the tumours of the people affected. Professor Crown and Dr. Fennelly, both leading oncologists in this country, have written to the Minister, written to the Department, asking for a trial on this drug or some method for this drug to be provided to cancer patients. These patients need this drug. And what's unique about this drug is that it allows patients to be tested in advance to determine the potential responses. And this makes it cost effective. That test is about €2,000. It's called the PDLI test. And you've got to get over 55% in order to show that you're suitable for this drug and it will have an impact on your life. In Vicky's case, it was up to 75% she got. It's also cost effective if you compare it, even though it's very expensive, if you compare it with all the ancillary costs of other treatments and potential stays in hospital. So I'm asking, considering the drug has been trialled in the US, is going to be put on by the FDA, who called for its immediate release and approval. I want to ask, why isn't there a programme put in place in this country to at least allow this drug be used on a trial basis, working with the company, the government and the company, or in some other method? Because it's simply not acceptable that we have a situation in this country where morally, for the right reasons, any women affected under the 221 cervical check scandal have access to this drug, but others don't. And they have access to this drug and it's paid for by the state. It was a cabinet decision. And morally, it was the right decision. But what distinguishes a woman outside of that 221? Why aren't they entitled to in the same way? How legally in this country can we say that a cohort of women who are absolutely devastated by what's happened in this country, and I know because I'm fighting for them, have access to this drug and this drug to be paid for by the state, but somebody who's outside it doesn't? I don't even think that's legal. I think it's illegal. I don't think a government decision can distinguish between both. And we need to have a plan in place, Minister, to ensure there is equal and equity. There's equity in access to this drug for those who need it. And we need a plan, and we need it quickly, because time isn't on many of these people's side. And it's not just cervical cancer. It's across other drugs as well. So, Minister, I would encourage you to go back to the Department. I'm very disappointed Minister Harris isn't here. I've raised this issue with him directly, and he knew I was probably going to bring it up soon, because we do need an answer for this. And I say this with the support of Vicky Phelan, and with the support of others who have raised it, that we need to get wider access to this drug in a fair and compassionate way.
Thanks, Chair. And again, on behalf of Minister Harris, I do apologise that he can't be here. The Deputy could have withdrawn his topical issue if he wished. So I've been asked to take it on his behalf. So I will read the reply, and if the Deputy is not happy with the reply, I'm sure some other arrangements can be made. Anyway, just to thank Deputy Kelly again. Minister Harris appreciates that the cancer diagnosis places enormous stress on patients and their families, and sadly there are very few people in Ireland who have been untouched by cancer. Access to potential benefit medicines for cancer treatment is an extremely important issue for people. Oireachtas has put in place a robust legal framework in health pricing and supply of medicinal goods in Act 2013. This Act gives full statutory power to the HSE to assist in making decisions on the reimbursement of the medications, taking account of the range of objective factors and expert opinions as appropriate. The Act specifies the criteria to be applied in making the reimbursement decisions, which would include the clinical and cost effective of the product and the opportunity cost and impact on resources available to the HSE. In line with the 2013 Act, if a company would like a medicine to be reimbursed by the HSE, the company must first submit an application to have a new medicine added to the reimbursement list. HSE decisions which medicines are reimbursed by the taxpayers are not made on objective scientific and economical grounds on the advance of the NCPE National Centre for Pharmacoeconomics. The NCEP conducts health technology assessments for HSE and making recommendations on reimbursement assists that decision. The NCEP uses a decision-making framework to systematically assess whether a drug is cost-effective as a health initiative. The drug which Deputy Kelly is talking about is, I hope I pronounce it, Pembrolizumab, is currently reimbursed for 4 indications: having advanced melanoma in adults, first-line treatment for non-small cell lung cancer, advanced melanoma in adults with combined therapy, and Hodgkin's lymphoma. The HSE has commissioned HTAS on the use of this medicine for 2 other cancers. The output of these processes for each of the additional indications will be, when available, be considered by the HSE under the statutory process. In addition, the HSE are deliberating on the further indications for reimbursement. In May 2018, a government decision put in place a package of support measures for the women and families affected by the issues related to cervical cancer. Several checks. As part of the package, all out-of-pocket medication costs covered by the women affected may be met when they are not already covered under the existing public system or by private health insurance. The exceptional commitment including medicines which may not be approved for reimbursements once they are prescribed for treating clinicians. I'm very sorry with this Pembrolizumab, which therefore is encompassed under the support package if prescribed by a woman's consultant. So basically, okay. I'll come back when.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
Thank you, Chair, and thank the Minister. Obviously, would prefer Minister Harris here, but I really appreciate the Minister who is here doing her best. I acknowledge that. Tomorrow, County Corla, I have to go to a funeral of a young man, father of 3 children in Clonmel, who was trying to get on this drug. Unfortunately, he never made it. The issue here, Minister, and may he rest in peace, the issue here, Minister, is the HTA for this is going to take 2 years. Too many women and men in this country are going to be affected by that timeline. Consultants are willing to administer this drug. The company that produces this drug produces it in Carlow here in Ireland, so it's available here. For the people who are affected and want a chance, and remember there's a test here which will say whether it is going to give them a quality of life or if they have a chance with this drug. For the people who are affected, we can't tell them they can wait 2 years, and we can't tell them about all this, all the rules and regulations that are necessary. They don't have time. It costs $8,500 for a 3-week shot of this drug. It costs $2,000 for the test to be done. People want the chance to be able to spend the $2,000 and get the test. I really am begging you. I remember Vicky Phelan on the Ray D'Arcy show saying that she had to fight tooth and nail to get on this drug. Tooth and nail, and only for persistence wouldn't have happened. She's alive today, and she's a quality of life, as we all know. I just want this government to work with the company and work with these people who need this drug to give them some hope. Give them some hope, the way Vicky Phelan has given so many people hope. I'm really asking you to do that. And I have to stress to you this. I believe that there is an equity here between paying for this drug for the women affected by the scandalous cervical check issue and people who are outside of that. I believe it's legally dubious. In fact, I don't think it's legal at all to discriminate between one and the other, despite the fact it was morally right to treat these women and give them as much as possible. So please, give them hope. Please look at this drug. Please approach the company. Look at the trial. Look at some sort of system quickly, given what we now know the impact this drug has had on many people, on some people's lives, particularly Vicky Phelan. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy.
Thanks, Chair, and again to thank the Deputy for his topical issue and to apologise again for Minister Harris not being here. Look, I can't give any definite response to the Deputy here. As I can say, his compassion and his passion about speaking about people who on a daily basis are fighting the scourge of cancer, and there's no family in this country, as we all know, including my own, not affected with somebody who has either passed away from cancer or is in the throes of such terrible disease. And again, just to say, on behalf of Minister Harris and myself, the sympathy to the young man who did pass away and his family. I don't know his name, so I can't be more specific. But to assure Deputy Kelly that I will speak to Minister Harris myself personally, as I always do, Chair. When I leave the chamber here, I always make sure that if I can't get the Minister who has asked me to stand in for him, I always go to a member of his staff and give them an outline of what actually the question was about, and ask them to personally ask the Minister to return to the Deputy in question with a more comprehensive reply. And I will do that again on behalf of Deputy Kelly. Unfortunately, I'm not able to stand up here and say, yes, we will be able to reimburse people, but I do believe that for those who are out there struggling against this horrible disease, we have to do whatever we can, not only in this House, but through medicine as well, and through compassion, to work on their behalf. So if Deputy Kelly wouldn't mind, I certainly will raise the issue with Minister Harris.
Thank you, Minister.